How many times have you been stuck in a jam in business? How many times have you lost sight of your purpose in business? How many times have you been on a path and you don't know where you are? It happens all the time. Don't think it's weird. Don't think you're all by yourself. You feel all alone at that time, but just remember, there's always coaching and mentorship that can get you back on track. This question mark is going to discuss exactly how you're going to get back on track and redirect your purpose in business. All right, welcome back to this series of Question Mark. The question that I was asked today is, as a mentor, how would you redirect an entrepreneur who has lost sight on their purpose in business? I will say that this happens more times than you think, because business and entrepreneurship is daunting. It knocks you around. And so a lot of times you have doubt, a lot of times you're not sure, a lot of times you work on projects all the time that don't work. Like everything you touch is not going to turn to gold. And so you put a lot of time and energy into stuff that might not go. May not be the thing you thought it was. And so you find yourself sometimes befuddled, confused, disjointed, upset, frustrated. It happens. But what I will say to you is this: there's also another side of that. And that's what this person's asking is, how do you redirect, right? Redirection's a real thing. And so let's talk about it. I would say if it's you versus you, it's very hard to unstick yourself. Because yes, you're talking to yourself the most, but guess what also you're digesting the most? Your own negative thoughts. So if you're talking to you the most, you don't have the answers, you're stuck, you've lost purpose, you've lost your way. This is why coaching and mentorship exists in the first place. Because it's somebody who's outside of your situation, who understands what's going on, has been in your shoes before, knows what to do, or has an idea of how to direct you so that you can go back on course. Because that's all we really want to do. When we get lost in the sauce in a state or a city we've never been in, we just want to redirect. We just want the GPS to redirect us. And that's all we're asking here. So I would say that this is a process of peeling back layers. We're talking about purpose here. So we have to peel back some layers. It's not as simple as a few questions, because sometimes the person you're talking to could be defensive about what it is that they are experiencing. And so it's going to have to be them in almost like a looking glass. They're gonna have to be looking at themselves. We're gonna create a prism of mirrors so that everywhere they go, they're looking at themselves. And we're gonna do that through their voice. When you're asking your questions to try to redirect or try to help them regain purpose, the questions are introspective. They have to look inside self to figure out how to get through this. Because it's not always gonna come. You're not gonna go, here's what you're doing wrong. Here's what you should have been doing. Here's what you should be doing. Nobody's receiving that. Nobody. Because no one wants a lecture. People are looking for guidance. They're looking for mentors. They're looking for coaching. They're looking for steps. But a lot of it is going to come from internal. So watch this. Number one, the question I'll ask if we're in this situation is, what is the initial fire that was lit inside of you? Like, what was it? When you started on this journey, what got you excited? Because what I'm trying to evoke is the idea that, hey, this may not be as far gone as you think. We might just be away from the fire, right? Anytime you light a fire, it's to get warm. It's to heat up. When you get away from the fire, it becomes chilly, colder. So I'm trying to evoke the embers that are burning, and I'm trying to see what if we threw gasoline on the thing that lit your fire in the first place? Would it reignite? And so we go through that process, and it's not a short process, because when someone gets asked this question, they're not If they're disjointed, their first initial response is, I remember when I was, no, their first response typically is something meek and mild. Something that has nothing to do with the answer. It's probably a defense mechanism. Man, listen, it was exciting. It was an exciting thing that I thought I could do, but these things happened and blah, 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 blah. Cool, I got nothing. We did nothing. So when we talk about peeling back layers, I didn't get anything, right? So I gotta go deeper, right? And so in this question, I go, okay, that makes sense. But again, what was the thing that lit your fire? Like who or what made you start doing this business in the first place? What was it? Well, I was always doubted and I wanted to prove. Okay, cool. Prove who wrong? Do what? Improve on what? And you understand, I'm on the first question and I'm still peeling back. I got to get to the lowest common denominator. Once I get there, I'll find out what the fire was. Okay? That is a very key question because I want to know, can we connect this back to purpose? Can we connect this back to purpose? The next thing I want to know, you found the fire now. Now, let's find out what is it that dulled the fire. Now, this is something they'll know much faster than they remember what lit the fire. Why? Because they're living in the dulling. The water is dousing on them right now as we speak, right? And so they know what's dulled the fire. So you're gonna get those answers a lot faster. Cool. I need both though, because here's the problem, and this is potentially a solution, right? And so, but they're both problems right now. Because I have an unlit fire and I have a dulled fire, right? Two different problems. I'm trying to reignite and I'm trying to figure out how can we stop the fire from burning again. We want to keep it burning. So I'm peeling. Now, all these are introspective. They're internal. Remember when I was in my 20s, I'm going from business to business to business to business. I'm trying to figure out how to become successful. I'm trying to figure out how to make things pop. I have a lot of energy. I have a lot of zeal. I have a lot of, aggression towards what my goal is. But at the end of the day, I would keep running into brick wall after brick wall. And if I were asking myself this question, there's a good chance I wouldn't know why the initial fire was lit in the first place. Or the reason wasn't sustainable enough to keep me going. Because it was money driven. It's just not sustainable enough. It has the ability to catch fire, no doubt about it. But at the end of the day, there could be the same reason that it was dulled, right? Because when the water keeps pouring on you, what are you doing to stay lit? You ever seen those birthday candles? They blow it out, then it relights. They blow it out, then it relights. I mean, that's what we're trying to do here. We are literally trying to be the birthday candle that relights when you try to blow it out. The only way to get it out is water. The only way to get it out is to douse it with something. So that's what we're trying to do with you and your business, right? As we're trying to realign purpose, as we're trying to redirect sight, okay? Third thing, all introspective, revising your why. Has your why changed? What was your why when you began? Has it changed? Are you still fighting for the same things? This is very important because the why is not the same as the fire. But this is why is really the wood to the fire. This is the wood to the fire. This is the reason why we ever went to light a fire in the first place. But this is also the thing that sustains. So the fire that's lit, great. The why is the wood that keeps going into the fire to keep it lit. That is when the fire's dulling down and you're trying to get this, you throw more wood on it because we know wood burns. And so that's your why. What is it that, has it changed? By the way, it might have changed. And if it's changed and you don't know it, you can't reconnect to it. You have no shot to reconnect to it. So has your why changed? And your why has the ability to change from season to season, depending on what's happening. This isn't just someone who's not successful. This could be someone who's been very successful and now has run into a brick wall, or now has lost their way, or now has lost purpose, or now has a problem with redefining their why. So you want to focus on this at all times. You want to make sure your business is connected to your why, because it's a very important item to have in business, is your why. Why would you go the extra mile when this thing starts to collapse? When you start going down a path you didn't think you were going down? Why are you going the extra mile? If you don't have that, you're not going to make it, period. Number 4, reconnecting to your customer community base. This is phenomenal. It sounds like, when you start reconnecting, I remember being in the field as an insurance agent. And I started to get really good at presenting and helping families with policies, selling life insurance. And so I started to lose my way. Why? Because nothing fails like success. I mean, you start success, becoming successful, you're gonna start, reading your own press clippings and starting to feel yourself and all the things that happens there. And so I'm just so used to coming in, making my presentation, getting out with helping the family with life insurance and making sure there's policies on the husband and the wife, and it just seems like old hat and boom, 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 and then I go on this super cold streak. I can't sell anything. I can't sell, ice to a freaking Eskimo. And it's like, okay, well, what happened? And then I realized I'm driving one night and I'm talking to my wife and I'm like, I don't know. And when you go on a cold streak in sales, especially when you've been hot, you think you're never gonna sell a policy ever again in your life. I mean, it's just the subconscious mind working. And so I realized that I stopped building rapport. I would get in, I was so good, I would just get in, do my thing, and be gone. I stopped building rapport. And so when I started reconnecting to the customer, reconnecting to my base, reconnecting to why I'm here in the first place, the fact that life insurance is an emotional sale, the fact that, I have to help you understand it is a product that is sold, not bought, which means someone has to sell it, which means emotion matters, and the fact that you do have, you have other things that you'd rather spend your money on, because you don't necessarily always get the benefit of the life insurance, someone else does. So I had to understand that. I had to get back to that. And so where are you at on your entrepreneur? Have you lost sight of your customer base? It happens. It's nothing to feel guilty about. We just have to find a way to reconnect. We must find a way to reconnect. So search. Now, you see what we're doing? As we go back to this prism of mirrors, I'm not the one doing all the talking as the mentor. I'm throwing this out there, and the person listening, the person that I'm talking with, is doing all the talking. They're creating this, and the talking is going through their brain. They're hearing it from their own mouth. If I'm doing all the talking, this never works. The prism of mirrors is this thing that has them looking at themselves every time they turn around. The answers are coming from within. They're not external. This is a mental heart game that we're in right now. Understand. So if you're in this place, or if you're a coach coaching from this place, these are some things that have worked for me in the past when coaching people. And so as we're creating the prism, we want to get to the 5th question, which is, have you redefined your definition of success? It happens all the time. What is your definition of success? Now, it doesn't mean you redefined it. You might have lost it. You might have forgot. Or things changed. You're in a different place than you were 2 years ago. You're in a different place than you were 9 months ago. You got a new revelation. You met new business people that have pointed, helped, your customer base grew. Whatever the deal, you might be in a different place. Okay, cool. Are we redefining? Or are we trying to rediscover? Either way, this stuff is critical to your ability to function. If you don't know this stuff, we're not playing the exact same game. Let's start with the idea of changing your goals throughout the journey is real. Like, everyone does this. You started business, you had no kids. You weren't married, or you were married. You started having kids. The business is more focused around you being able to work and parent. You started a business, you were traveling nonstop. And then you realize, hey, there may be another way to do this. We could do this virtually. You started the business and it's a storefront and you have a certain type of clientele you're looking to bring in. And the clientele changes because of a technology or product that you purchased or brought into your business that allows things to move fast. Like, you are 100% allowed to redefine and change your goals as you go. Sometimes you hit a goal and you have to refocus. You go like, oh, I hit this goal. What do I do next? We're back to the process, right? And so this stuff is fantastic, but sometimes as you grow older in business, you're not an early entrepreneur, you grow a little bit older in business, and you want to start doing things a little bit differently. Success matters. If you're just banging your head against the wall, you have no idea, what has changed. It's the reason why entrepreneurship's not easy. We've got to search ourselves constantly, and we've got to stay true to your core. B, reflect on your core values. This is huge. What are your core values? You should have a moral compass of values in business because it's easy to lose track. Most of what we're talking about today, I've lost track on before, many times, and I've seen many people lose track. Many people. I've mentored, coached many people in business, and I've seen them lose track. Some never even had core values. If you don't have core values, you have no roadmap. Core values is the architectural drawing of your business. That's exactly how you stay alive. It's exactly how you know point to point, pillow to pillow, post to post. If you don't know that, it's tough. So if you have those, if you don't have them, make them. Soul search. What values do you have to live by in business? Write them down. If you have them, let's get back to it. Let's reflect. Because I've lost my way on that stuff all the time. All the time. It's just reflecting. It's like, oh wow, stuck to that value. I should have stayed in the pocket. C, shift the focus from outcome to process. We've got to remember, it's so easy to focus on the outcome. I want this. I want it to look like this. I want it by this date. I want it, like, dude, I got it. It's just, the process is so important because that's where all the details are. If we just jump, first off, it's impossible to jump the process to get to the outcome. Impossible. But if you slop up the process, or if you just smack together the process, you're not getting the outcome you wanted in the first place. So understand, business, life in general is heavily process focused. And a lot of times we stay here. We're stuck on the outcome. We stick to the outcome. The outcome's great. You know what the truth is? Every time you reach your outcome, you know what you're doing? Do you know what you're doing? You're looking for a new process. Because you're not gonna bask in the outcome. You're not. It's like, it's hard to do. You're not gonna, if you stay stuck on the goal you reach, you're going down the mountain anyway. Isn't that funny? So I know it's a grind mentally, but we signed up for this. This is the grind we signed up for. So let's get back to the process. Let's make sure we are working on the process. B, consider long-term legacy over short-term goals. This is a hard one to swallow. Even when I wrote this, it was like, oh, that's tough. But I remember being a culinary student and going to college for culinary arts. And I wanted to be a chef. I wanted to be a chef since I was, early ages, I wanted to be a chef. And I would enter, competitions and things like that. And I would cook a lot at home, and what's baking versus cooking. And like, these are the things that I would go through as an adolescent. And it's like, when I got to culinary school and I started going on my internships, I loved the creative expression of a culinary artist. And now, back then it wasn't as commercialized as it is today, but now food is one of the greatest expressions in the world, and everybody agrees. You don't talk to a lot of people who aren't excited about good culinary art or good food. You just don't. Most people, those are some of the number one recommendations going on, is recipes, restaurants, what they ate, what we're ordering for lunch today. Like this is like a big phenomenon. But I remember the legacy was kind of like, what do you want to do? I remember facing that square in the face at 21 years old. What do you want to do? Because the culinary world was all long nights. It was working all holidays. It was, being on when everyone else is off. And I'm like, what would it be at 33, 34, 35, married with kids? Do I want to do that? So I'm projecting 14 years into the future to answer a question today. And I said, I don't. And so I've redirected my entire course, which is weird, but that's what you do in your 20s. A lot of times you redirect. And so I started thinking of legacy. I started thinking of long-term outcomes more. And so I started going into business. I started going into sales was a skill of mine. I started going into sales. And I can't tell you, I thought it was the best move I ever made. Now I still love to cook, I'm still efficient, I'm still great at it. Well, great is in the eye of the beholder. But I would say this, that if you come hang out with your boy Mark, I'm gonna chef it up and I think you'll enjoy what you eat. So we'll go to E, celebrate small wins. I think as we go on this journey, just remember, we created a prism. The entrepreneur, the person who's struggling, is the person now looking at themselves in the mirror. This is all introspective. This is the best kind of mentoring for anybody to receive. When I was stuck in places, when I get stuck in places, this is what I want to receive. I want to receive something that's going to, as much as I hate it, when the questions start coming, I'm like mad. I'm like, why are you asking me that? Because I think I know the answer. But if you don't go on this journey, you're going to stay mad. The moment you go, I'm here for a reason, let me just answer this question. You start to peel back them layers. There's times I've been on coaching calls where tears started to come out of my eyes because the frustration didn't match up to purpose. And so redirecting back to purpose is one of the best exercises you could ever do. And you're going to be in the spot multiple times in business. So you might as well learn from it. You might as well learn how to grow inside of it and then become great at helping other people grow inside of it. I hope this message helps. Appreciate y'all for listening. God bless. As much as we hate the prism of mirrors and the questions we're being asked in an introspective situation, it helps. If this has given you value, please subscribe to this channel. We're trying to reach as many people as we can in the world of entrepreneurship. We know it's not simple. We know it's hard. We know as a community, we're better together. Please share, comment on things you've done to unstick yourself in business. Has this helped? Has this provided anything for you to reflect on? I hope it has, and I do hope that we continue to bring value to you. We appreciate your time. We don't take it for granted. Love you. God bless. If you like content like this, there's a video right over here. Click on this to discover your why in business.